Thank you all for coming and watching. I am Brandon. Let's continue with the 9Q series. Same as always, just keep the group strong, and we'll see what happens. One thing I like to do is just, if they play the 4-4, then I'll play the 3-4. And if they play the 4-4 again, then I'll keep it balanced with the 4-4. If they play 3-4, I probably will still play the 4-4. I like the balance between these two. One's going for territory, one for influence. But it's also fine to do two 4-4s or two 3-4s, which it's a little bit harder to get them to work together, but it still works. You can also invade this side if you're looking to break the game up into smaller pieces. I like this one because I build my own area, then they build their area, and I'm confident that I can build my area better than theirs. Okay, so this one is he really wants the corner territory. Not really sure what Joseki is here, but if he's going to get the corner, he's going to have to give me a lot on the outside. Tries to take this corner. I want to make sure my group stay relatively safe. So I could make a extension here. Then this one kind of gets cut off. So I think I want to jump here, which is kind of building this area. And at the same time trying to make a connection here. And if he tries to cut me off, then this should be fine because there's nothing over here. And on this side, I can still make a base. So here I can make a base still, or I can enclose my corner. And because these stones are high, I want to play high over here too. Even though it's still open here, it's not too bad. This is definitely a little slow because he already has all these stones here making points. So he should be approaching either probably one of these sides. And I'm just going to probably enclose my corner on this side, because if he approaches I can pincer and build while also taking some points in the corner. So this move is also just a little bit too slow. I'm just gonna take the corner. And he does this. I'm a little bit confused. It looks like he's trying to attack the corner, but this is pretty safe. Like there's some weaknesses in here. It'll be fine. It either gets out to the center or it lives here, which should be pretty easy. I'm gonna pincer here to try and grow this area while attacking these stones. And while it might be tempting to play something like this for it to be safe, I would say this move is like closing a door, and this move is opening a door. And if you close the door, then you're pretty much saying all I want is this. And because there's still weaknesses in the corner, you're not going to get all of that. You might as well open the door, and if they invade, you still have the possibility of making more in the center. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so he jumps in here. Now we have to look at the weak group. We can take the base over here, but then there's a chance this gets in trouble. So I want to defend my weaknesses over here and do it in a way where it's still either putting some pressure on this group or it's helping me extend to this side. So this one would be the most solid, but it doesn't really have too much effect over here. If I do this one and he tries to come through, I can just extend. Then it should be okay. And then this one's putting not too much, but it's kind of surrounding this area while also threatening to extend here. And if he does try to do something to cut off this, we can just sacrifice it and then defend our cut, and then this stone becomes weaker. Okay, so he makes a base here. If we try to cut it off, or not cut off, but reduce his eye space down here, he can peep here, which probably should block, and then he can attach here. We can capture this stone, but then he can get this move in Sente, which helps him get some eye space. But because this area is pretty much, there's no good way to say which is better, taking the outside or this one, because we have some weaknesses here. We could just play safe and do this one to take this area. Or we can just make an extension over here. But because this area is so strong, you don't want to approach too close to it, because then he can invade. So it's probably not the best idea to invade over here. Also some weaknesses with this stone, but I think we're just going to hit this one. Gives us some chance for points, puts some pressure on this group. He's going to jump in. Probably would have been better to do this one, because then he can at least threaten to connect under. I think I'm just going to defend the corner and stop him from trying to make a base with a move like this. Okay, then we gotta extend. There's this one. This is the obvious move because we're surrounding him. And we're gonna have some weaknesses on the outside, so we don't want to try too hard to kill. We just want to make sure that we don't get cut off and get into trouble. And while he's trying to live here, we should be able to get stronger on the outside. So we have cutting points here and here. But he's also threatening to capture these. Which I don't think we have to worry too much because we push through all here, we connect under, and these get damaged a lot. So I'm just going to defend the cutting point here. Corner might be damaged a little bit, but because we played this move, I think it should be okay. Okay, so he's cutting off that one. A little bit too greedy to do this one, so we're just going to have to extend here. But we also have to worry about like moves like this, where if we Atari, he capture Atari's here, and then he can extend. We're gonna have to play safe with a move like this. He goes here, which is a bit bad. He should just Atari here, and then we have some weakness here. But now we get to do this Atari, which is giving us more eye shape in the corner. And if he extends here, we extend. This is an Atari, so he kind of has to capture, and then pretty much live in the corner in Sentai. And then there's still some weaknesses here where we can Atari here, and then potentially do something over here. Okay, so he goes here. So we could just Atari here, so that turns into a Ko. If we were behind, I would feel like maybe we could do this to make sure that this doesn't live too easy. But because we're ahead, I think just going to extend here to be safe. And if he Tanukis and then we get to play here, then it does quite a bit. Even though he probably should still be able to live. So it's not that big of a move to extend here. Because he can threaten to connect under with something like this, even though it kind of damages these stones. And then pushing through here, he can just sacrifice some of these and try to get some more ice shape. Not really enough time to read that through, but I feel like this should be able to live pretty easy, even if he doesn't extend here. Okay, so we still have some cutting points here, so I'm just going to go ahead and Atari this one to help make this stronger. And at the same time, kind of finish this group off. Poke here to help reduce the eye shape. And this is pretty much alive in the corner, so I don't really have to worry. Like, yeah, he can go here, and then Atari, and I connect. I shouldn't worry too much about that. Instead, I'll make this move here, which is making a base for this group, making it a little bit stronger, and taking away a chance for him to make a base or threaten to connect under. We don't want to let him connect under. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this one. So if he Hanes here, it is Sente. Bit weird. Extend up. Has some cutting points here, cutting point here, so we gotta defend that, threatening to get out. And our cutting points are pretty much all fixed. There's some peeps here, but I don't think they're too bad. And then because we focused hard on defending our cutting points, we can be more aggressive here and try and surround them. But again, we don't want to risk everything just to kill this group. So our focus should be just making sure we're nice and connected, nothing gets cut off. And while he's struggling to do that, we should get really strong on the outside. And then we can threaten to go over here to where if he does invade, because we have all this strength here, we're not too worried about it. And I'm just going to go ahead and defend this solidly. If we go here, then he can go here, and then he can threaten to cut us off. We're just going to not let him do that. He goes there. We have a cutting point here. Don't really like that, so I'm just going to go ahead and defend it. Because even if we surround him, if this gets cut off, and then we're not able to connect under, or he does something like this before we can, then it's not too good. Even though we probably could just win a capturing race. Better to be safe and just defend your cutting points. We can poke through here, and then we can throw in here to kill this group. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And he goes here, which this is pretty much dying in Gote. Because he can't make this an eye, even if he gets another move here. He shouldn't be able to connect under. So here, if we go too close and he goes here, he can threaten to connect under or make a base. So I think if we do this one, when he invades, he can only make a one space. So that makes it a lot easier. Go here and then throw in, and that becomes a false eye. Oh, I messed up. Okay, so we weren't able to do that. He can connect under now. So probably should have added a move there, but oh well. Mistakes happen. But because we made that mistake, but before that we made sure that we were nice and strong, that mistake doesn't really cost us too much. We still got this move in, and he shouldn't be able to invade that too easily. And then now he has this weak group we can go after. Goes here. Just gonna play nice and solid, stay connected so he can't cut us off. So he has this peep here, which kind of helps him get some eye shape. So we're gonna peep first so that he doesn't get this peep in sensei. Then extend. So now as he's running out, he's hurting the bottom side. So we'll extend once more. Okay, so now he's trying really hard to defend two sides at once. So here we have two choices. We can keep attacking, try to cut him off, but then this side is probably going to get a bit damaged. Or we can try this way, maybe peep here. Then if he connects, we can push through, then we can cut on both sides. And that seems safer than trying to run him into this area to where if we end up failing, then we lose a lot. Then connects. He has to worry about both sides. And if he connects here, we cut this off. Then if he tries to peep here, we connect. We can maybe cut this off. But even if it, I don't think that works, but even if it did, we would still cut these off, which is enough profit. And he has liberty issues, so he can't really cut with here. I was going to try and connect under, but at this point, it's just a little bit too late. And just make sure we're safe on the outside, because there's some cutting points on both sides. And we don't want to let this get cut off. Just trying to get this eye here. Okay, and he resigned. Yeah, this game was a little bit aggressive, and I made the mistake up here. Okay, let's try a quick review. So black here should probably come out here, try to split, keep white into weaker groups, and also stop from being enclosed in the corner where there is some weaknesses here. This was just too slow, should be approaching here or over here. You can also approach up here, some people like to attach. And also because he's so strong in the corner, he also probably could have just cut and tried to attack, but I would prefer approaching. Also too slow, should be playing somewhere over here to reduce the influence on this side. And you also just get more points than what this gets. Like this gets you like 4 points maybe, or less, depending on what happens in game. And then he tries to put pressure on this after it already is strong. So here he should be playing something at the top here to maybe threaten at this cut, or approaching the corner in some way, or maybe even just trying to invade the corner right away. But instead he just ends up running here, and I get all these stones facing the top area. And then even after all these moves, he's not even connected. Jumps in here, which I think is the right direction. He doesn't really have much he can go for. And he can also aim at this cut now. He has some support. So I defend that cut. He tries to make a base. It probably would have been better if he went low, or played over here first, threatening to connect under. Then after he plays this, then he can play a move over here to try and get a base. And I just try to take points. And he tries to live here, which I probably could kill this, but I feel like staying strong on the outside is more important. If you don't have time to read this all out and know for sure, then it's just too risky to try and kill this. Even though it probably would work, even if you just tried it without reading. Okay, so he cuts here. And here I'm just uncomfortable with all these cutting points. So I didn't really read this out to where this got cut off, but I just knew that this would stay weak, and the corner should be okay. And again, I wasn't trying to kill this anyway. So as long as I didn't die and I got profit on the outside, then it was okay. So just defended the biggest cutting point. And he pushes through. And I had to do this one, because if I extend here, then he can go here, threatening to capture the 4 stones. So I have to capture. Then he can Atari here, then I have to capture. Then he can extend, and then there's a chance that he can capture these stones. Even though after capturing here and extending, it might not work, but again, didn't want to take the risk. He Atari'd here, which I think he should have Atari'd here, had to connect, and then extend here. And then I would have to worry about this peep. I could also do this one, but again, I don't feel like I should be able to kill this. So trying to do this and then getting into like a co-fight, which if I lost the co-fight, pretty much I'm risking losing the entire corner. It's just not worth it. And I think black could have probably just lived here without this move, but it does look safe. Okay, then I played here, which is kind of helping surround this group, and at the same time is defending my cutting points. Another safe route would have been to play something like this, and then when he goes here, we just block him off. That probably would have worked a little bit better. I probably should have done that one instead. And blocking here, again, even if he connects under, it's not that big. I'm alive in the corner, and there's not really a chance of this dying. I probably should have just played on the outside here and let him try and crawl and connect, which he probably shouldn't be able to. Instead, I let him run out, which is something you're not supposed to do. But again, my main focus was staying strong. So I tried to make sure that I stayed connected and strong on the outside instead of going for the kill. But at this point, I think it is dead. I messed up here. And I probably also could Atari here. So now this is pretty much all connected. I have this cutting point here, but this is already alive pretty much. So I wouldn't have to worry too much about pushing down here. And even if I did, both are safe. Could also consider just connecting solidly here. Then that would have also got rid of this cut, so that was probably a little bit better. And here I just missed, I forgot about the Atari here. So instead of this one, I probably should have played here, stop the connection. This move is also pretty big, and also is making it a little bit easier to handle the cut here. And then if I noticed the weakness here, it would have been better for me to block here, and then just let him live, and then take Sente. But instead I threw in here, which was just bad. And then I let this live, but it wasn't a complete loss because I managed to take this area. And if we look at score estimator, White's ahead on points. All of his groups are safe, and Black has this weak group. I also probably could have considered playing this Kasumi here, to where if he blocks, then I can extend a little bit further, or even just extending here, and it surrounds it a lot easier. So this push here was probably a mistake. And here I should just take my profit, push through here. He goes here, I can throw in here, and if he Ataris this way, I Atari, he captures. Then I can Atari here, and if he extends, then I can ladder it to surround it. Or I could do something like push through, Atari, or throw in, he Ataris, I Atari this side, he captures. Then instead of doing the ladder, I can also just peep here. And then if he connects, then I capture. But in the end, I ended up cutting this off, and then this died. So this game I was very sloppy, and didn't quite play that well, but hopefully it's still good enough you learned a few things from it, and I'm definitely going to learn from this game, and try and improve as well. And thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe learned something, and I'll see you again next Sunday.